Hey, Ursula Kev. This is the machine. The top is on it. In that top, there's a fan because when you distill, this is triple distillation, and there will be steam created. We don't keep the top on because the steam will go throughout the house and purify everything. It's not overwhelming, the steam. It's nothing like that. But if you want to keep the fan on, do, because the water will get hot. We leave it off and the steam goes through and cleans the house. That's step number one for us. So this is our kitchen. Steve is putting the machine on a table. There are two things you have to plug in. One is for the
actual distiller.
The actual distiller.
And this is for the ultraviolet light.
This is for the ultraviolet light. Because it's
also
purify
the water.
That purifies the water. It is the cleanest water that people have been able to find.
Now try pausing again. Hold on, before I do that, let me.
So Steve's going to show you the hookup for the faucet in a minute, but I'm going to explain this big white bucket is where we have a glass jar that's collecting the number 2 water. It will make number 1 water, which is our drinking water. You see we have all these bottles ready to go. This bucket will have a big glass jar in it. We'll use that for be the number 2 water for plants, for baths. It is drinkable, but we prefer the 1 water. I use the number 2 water to even clean the floors, and I don't even need cleaner. It is so remarkable. Okay.
First we hook this tube up.
So this tube has to be hooked up, and that will funnel the water.
That's the number 1 water.
The number 1 water. And so we have a catch jar for the number 1 coming right out. And then the tube follows around, and in that white bucket is going to be the number 2 water. So this is our number 1 water, and this is our number 2 water. I'm going to do a long shot so you can see the hookup now. And if I go this way, you'll see. So now we have to hook it up to the aerator, which is in this
Did you show
sink.
That's the specific aerator?
So,
if you don't have a sink that fits that, you're out of luck.
So Steve just said that. Do you want to repeat that?
Yeah, so this is the aerator that has to attach to the faucet for the sink. If it doesn't fit this particular aerator, you're out of luck. This will not fit.
And we had to get a new faucet. We had some fancy damn thing here, and we actually wound up with this Delta faucet, which is pretty close. Right? I'm not going to say it's even a perfect fit, but you know, that's what comes from folk medicine. And then you attach this.
I gotta get over there.
So then now it's hooked up. It's really not a big hookup. His body was just in the wrong position to put it on. So that goes in to the machine, and this is the one where the number 1 water comes out, and this is number 2 water.
So right now we have this filled close to this nut. The nut there is where the number 2 water is going to be pushed out of. And when you first start this, there'll be no water in here, so you'll have to fill it up pretty much to this line before the nut, before you start plugging in and turning on. But if you've done it a couple of times, you may want to keep some of the water in and just drain out below the screw so that it doesn't leak. That's where we have it now. So now I'm going to turn this on. You have to get a trickle in order to get distillation. So we turn it to cold.
And we're waiting for the water to come out. Yep, right there.
Okay, so now you'll see that little stream. And as that stream is happening.
And that's very cold water.
And now what I'm going to do is start plugging it in to turn the machine on.
But you don't plug it in before that.
They recommend that first you plug in the distiller. Then you plug in the ultraviolet lights and make sure you turn it on. Now the ultraviolet lights will be purifying the water. You'll see it takes a few minutes to heat up. I don't know if you'll be able to hear the gurgling sound, but that's when you'll know it's heating.
And then through this one here, you sort of see energy coming out when you know the heat is working. I mean, it'll take you a couple times, but you know, you have Kevin, and you know, that's a blessing.
I don't know if you can hear this. Maybe bring this close to the actual distiller. You'll hear it start to gurgle. That's the beginning of knowing it's starting. But again, it takes a few minutes before you start seeing it actually work its magic.
So when we start seeing tiny little drips of number one water coming in, we know it's going straight and it's right. And then it's just time consuming after that.
Just the distillation.
So I referred to energy coming out of that piece right there, that little one, the short one. I don't know if you can see it in the water. I can see it in person, and you just see energy, like air coming through it. You see movement.
And once you
see that,
you'll realize that it's starting
you're
to
seeing
drip.
the number one water. And this is why they sell it for so much money, because it takes about an hour to make a gallon of this water. Of course, the number two water
It's not ready yet.
fills up a lot quicker, and that's good water. But this is the really healing water. Even though the other's healing, this is the one I use, of course, with patients.
And the number two water will be coming out of that nut.
Yeah, the nut.
And you'll notice when it starts getting above the nut, for starters, you may want to drain some of this off, because they recommend that it just be up to the top of the circle and not above it, in order for it to give you maximum benefit.
So he's lowering the water by the nut so that,
Eureka.
and there it is, you hear it. That's the number two water. And we will have enough number two water at the end of this to just to have a bath if we wanted. But I wash my floors with it, and it's a miracle.
So now everything is working,
So now everything's working.
and we'll be here for about 3 hours.
So that will be our day.
So happy Ellis water making.
Bye.